Everyone, this is Selena Kraus and welcome to another Hero Arts card making video. For today's card, we're gonna use few products. We're gonna use the Arches Infinity dies, the fancy butterflies dies, the friendly messages, and also the collage background hero transfers. This is a set of 5 sheets of transfers. They're all different designs and they're perfect for backgrounds. So we're going to use one of those for today's card. So let's get started. I'm starting with a piece of A2 size Deluxe Smooth White Cardstock, and I'm using the blending brushes to add some Berry Smoothie, Taffy, and Creamsicle Reactive inks to cover my background. So I'm starting with the darkest color on top. That's the Berry Smoothie. And I'm blending that quickly with my large ink blending brush. Then I'm going with the Taffy, and I'm making sure that I'm overlapping the colors so we have a smooth transfer between the colors, and also that way we get more colors, especially in the areas where the two colors overlap. So I didn't cover the entire panel. I'm going back again, that applying more dark and blending it in to have more bright background. I didn't cover the entire background because I'm cutting one of the arches. So then we have that background, and then we're going to use the smaller butterfly from the Delicate Butterflies Fancy Die. And I die cut that one behind the camera using pitch black cardstock. So now I'm trying to decide which of the collage backgrounds I wanted to use for to apply on my arch, ink blended arch. So I went with the handwritten letter here, and I just trimmed around with my scissors to size so I'm not wasting any of those hero transfers. Next, I'm using the applicator that came with the transfers, and I'm just rubbing over the entire piece, making sure that I've covered all of the areas. So we have the entire transfers onto the piece of cardstock. So since the transfer was a little bit larger than my arch, like at arch, I'm using little sanding block to gently remove any of that that's hanging off the side. So just one swipe gets rid of that. Okay, so we have our background. We have our butterfly. I will use the Hero Arts liquid glue to add that butterfly to the arch, the ink blending arch, and I'm just adding the adhesive on the middle of the butterfly because I want the wings of the butterfly to be lifted up to create some dimension. Okay, I think that's done. Now let's do the message. I'll be using one of the messages from the Friendly Messages stamp set. So since I already have an A2 size pitch black cardstock panel here, I decided to stamp more than one message and save the rest of the sentiments or the messages for later use. So I'm stamping here 5 of them. I decided to add one more since it will fit up. I'm using my Misty tool. I'm adding some anti-static powder, and then I'm using the unicorn white pigment ink to stamp those couple times. So we have nice ink coverage. So then I'm going one more time. Okay, I think that looks good. The next step is to apply white embossing powder. Just making sure, since we're embossing with white on black cardstock, I'm making sure that I flick any of the excess embossing powder. Also, that's why it's very important to use that anti-static powder tool. Because we're embossing with white on black, so we don't want any extra specks of white embossing powder around. Next, I'm going with my heat tool and I'm heat setting that. Okay, now we have all the sentiments. They're stamped and embossed in white. And I'll be using only the one that's on the bottom that says "You're amazing." So I'm just trying to find the coordinating die here. We'll die cut that in a second. I'm just setting here my card, how it will look like. I have a panel of pitch black cardstock that's 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm adding the arch on top of that, and then I have top folding the white note card. So now I'm taking my die and I'm just cutting that 1 centimeter, since I just wanted to die cut that 1 centimeter, and I'll save the rest for later use. I'm securing my die on top of it. I'm using some repositionable tape, and then I'm using the Hero Arts compact cutter to die cut that sentiment. So we have almost everything ready now, so it's time to assemble our card. Okay, so I'm adding some foam tape on back of that sentiment. I need to use very thin strip because it's a thin kind of strip sentiment. So I'm cutting that foam tape to size to fit behind that sentiment, and then I will add it to the arched piece that we ink blended and added the Hero transfer. I added on top of the foam tape, I added liquid adhesive because that leaves me a little bit more wiggle room to position that sentiment where I want it to be, or if I need to make any adjustments, that allows me to wiggle it a little bit and adjust it to the perfect position. I'm adding some enamel dots, white and black, from the Neutrals Enamel Dots pack. So I added black on the butterflies and I added white to create contrast around the butterfly. Next, I'm adding thin foam tape on back of that arch, just trimming it to size again, and I'll remove the backing. I'll again add liquid glue on top, so this will allow me to adjust it to the final and position where I want this one to be, so it doesn't stick immediately to my cardstock. Trying to center it here and making sure that it's nice and straight. I'll use a little T-ruler to make sure that it's centered and straight. So you can see here, because that I applied that liquid glue on the back, I can move this panel. Okay, I think that's perfect. Next, we just need to adhere it to our top folded note card. Instead of foam tape here, I have some packaging from that I recycled from Hero Art stamp sets or die sets, and I'm adding it to create dimension. You can also use foam tape or anything, or foam craft foam, or anything you have handy. I'm just recycling the packages. Also, it gives me more sturdiness. The card has more sturdiness when it goes through the mail. So I'm just adding that on my note card, and this finishes our card for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any videos, and also visit our blog for more ideas and inspiration. Thanks for watching. Bye!